The wait is finally over, and now we are counting down to D-Day, which is now on a weekday. For some reason, yay for taking leave I don't need. As usual, it will rain election promises from both Barisan and Harapan. It's standard practice really, in all parts of the world. But what we are concerned about is the quantum of these pre-election goodies, particularly from BN's side, since they have the bigger arsenal. Can it afford everything it's promising? Will it affect our fiscal deficit? And what will it mean for taxpayers? Let's quickly recap what's been promised by BN so far. Over the weekend, PM Najib announced additional BRIM chair, which, according to Socio-Economic Research Centre Executive Director Lee Heng-Gui, will total up to 4.2 billion ringgit. That's on top of the 1.46 billion ringgit raise promised to civil servants, which brings the total so far to 5.66 billion ringgit. And there are also projects in the BN manifesto with no mention of cost. The party doesn't stop here. There will likely be more goodies announced during the campaign period. So, who is going to pay for all this? I mean, a lot is still in the air at this point. But if janji ditepati, will Malaysia need to impose higher GST? Will BN need to borrow to cover the additional expenses? And speaking of borrowing, that leads to another concern. With this extra spending, can the country hit its fiscal deficit target of 2.8% of GDP? Sunway University Business School economics professor Ye Kim Leng says that the target may be stretched if total spending outpaces the projected revenue increase. He explains that a net increase of 1.5 billion ringgit in spending over revenue is estimated to raise the fiscal deficit by 0.1 percentage point if nominal GDP growth is slightly over 7% in 2018. Well, let's look at BN's source of funding for these promises: oil. Since Budget 2018 was announced, Brent crude oil has climbed by about 23% to about $69 a barrel. According to MIDF's head of research Muhammad Reza Abdul Rahman, each $1 increase provides an additional 300 million ringgit in revenue. So, say oil prices average at $60 per barrel, we would see an additional 2.4 billion ringgit in the government's coffers. Plus, Reza says that the expected increase in domestic spending will translate to higher tax collection. He's also seeing an improvement in corporate earnings this year, which will add to tax revenues. So, he believes that paying for all the extras won't be an issue. Now, whether BN can afford to cover the additional spending or not, the one thing we should remember is that there is no such thing as a free lunch. And ultimately, should the government use public funds to favour popular election-focused measures over longer-term developmental projects? If you compare the current pre-election goodies with the list back in 2013, it feels a little like the government is trying to exhaust the last of its ammunition to win the war. In a way, it is understandable why BN is trying hard to strengthen their position after losing the popular vote in the previous general election. But should we really risk sending the country deeper into debt to win an election? Just saying.